mentioned. If there is anyone that has something against this recording, please do tell us now in the chat or after.
Use this call your stuff, Olga, if you want.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know I can do that. Sorry. Okay, so this webinar is dedicated actually to presenting or making a showcase of 3 awarded demonstration projects. And we are happy to having Beatriz, Hans and Anders today with us. As you know maybe, VIDA has had an open call, and through this call we awarded 8 demonstration vouchers. And I can just introduce briefly that the success stories from Beatriz, Hans and Anders will be a 10-minute presentation, and after that we will have questions and answers dedicated to all 3 stories. Beatriz is presenting ADIEGO Hermanos, Hans Wouters is presenting Brightwork from Netherlands, Diego Hermanos from Spain, and Anders Thomsen is presenting Nordicflexhouse from Denmark. Here shortly I will just introduce VIDA. What is VIDA about? So VIDA is one of the InnoSub projects that was that was initiated in April last year, and actually is aiming to contribute in on a high level to bringing new innovative technologies which will actually reinforce the resource efficiency, and also it will do this by finding a way for 4 types of sectors to intervene and exchange their expertise. So we call this VIDA Nexus, and VIDA Nexus is actually bringing together the sector of water, energy, food and key enabling technologies. Thank you, Clara. To work together. This means basically that VIDA is all about cross-sectoral, cross-disciplinary and transnational collaborations. So today's success stories also talk about this type of collaboration and how they approach through their projects within VIDA Nexus. I'll just go back. So how is this done? This is done basically firstly through a VIDA voucher scheme that doesn't have only demonstration vouchers but also validation vouchers and innovation support vouchers. And besides offering funding through cascading scheme, it also supports SMEs through this process by organizing events such as brokerage event that we will have soon in Milan on 12th of September, and also through capacity building sessions. Like this webinar is one of the matchmaking events, but also it serves us in kind of informing SMEs about the opportunities and also trying to establish some kind of collaboration through basic capacity. So what is the access to information and what are the funding opportunities? And then later on in October we are going to have kind of capacity building / training sessions on better uptake of the whole process, business modeling, so on and so forth. Okay. So therefore we have VIDA Nexus, but what kind of societal challenges we are tackling within the food value chains? So this is a list of the examples that we were approaching to. We were tackling these type of challenges. So as you can see, it's about farming, it's about breweries, wineries, processing of meat, but also other types of food processing. There is also about the production of itself. So there are different ways and different let's say subsectors or different value chains that we are addressing. So for example, the last one I didn't mention still, it's the one about greenhouses and agriculture. So So how VIDA encourages the sustainability of these processes, we will be also tackled and demonstrated today and discussed with you through 3 awarded projects. Okay, so VIDA Voucher Scheme, as maybe the most interesting thing for SMEs in this project is that it's really much targeting SMEs and their clusters. So within VIDA, our cluster partners are essential supporters and promoters of this system. And through them, SMEs have been establishing transnational and cross-sectoral collaborations. SMEs, according to EU definition, so they have to have between 50 and 250 employees. Their annual turnover has to be less than 50 million, and annual balance sheet has to be less than 43 million euros. Besides this, there is also an SME check assessment that we ask in through the process of application for vouchers for SMEs to go through this and to send us this kind of certificate or declaration. And the rest of the information, as mentioned here on this slide, you can find in our terms and conditions on the website. So our website, if you don't know yet, is vidaproject.eu. And on this website, I put it in the chat room, you can find a lot more about VIDA Voucher Scheme. So there is a whole section on that, and there is, in the end, VIDA terms and conditions. The last part of this slide, applicants must declare their financial stability. Clara, do you want to mention something more specifically, or this is just a reminder for the ones that are aiming to apply for this second round?
I'll explain later for the demonstration.
Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned, VIDA is composed of cluster partners, and these cluster partners are essential when applying to VIDA Voucher Scheme, because we have a kind of precondition to applying, which means that SMEs have to be either member of these clusters, of any of these clusters, or they have to be within the territorial scope of VIDA partners. So if they don't belong to the cluster, for example, in Netherlands or Spain, they have to come from the region of the partner from that country. So our partners, or VIDA team, is basically located in Portugal, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, and Czech Republic. And the clusters are within this region except for Portugal. Portugal doesn't have a cluster partner. And now I will pass a ball, imaginary ball, to Clara, and she'll continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Hope you can hear me well. So, well, basically this is the most important screenshot of the project, the most informative at least. It's the 3 types of voucher schemes, the Innovation Support Voucher and the Validation Voucher, which budget is almost already over, but we encourage you, if you have a last proposal, just go contact your own cluster and check about the actual status of these 2 voucher schemes. But of course, we need to focus on the demonstration voucher call, which is the call that is currently open and the main topic for this webinar. So the demonstration vouchers are it's a funding instrument of VIDA project that is meant to address the common challenge in the food chain that have been already presented by Olga briefly. Basically, how to deal with a more sustainable food sector through the use of new of innovative technologies that tackle resource efficiency. For that, the demonstration voucher must propose a joint project and must include a prospective user, because we want here demonstration activities in at least operative environments. The demonstration voucher budget needs to be from 20,000 to 250,000 euros per joint proposal. The minimum of partners is 2. That means that the minimum budget for each partner is 10,000 up to 60,000 euros per partner. There has been already one call, of course. This is the main topic for this webinar, and we have already 8 awarded projects. That's over, but the second call is open. The second call will last from the 1st of August until October 21st of this year. The project durations are from 6 months up to 12 months. And as I said, the minimum participants is 2 SMEs. The TRL of the demonstrated technology must be at the beginning of the project in TRL 6. So eligible activities for this, demonstration project are personnel costs, subcontracting costs for service providers, testing costs, material, travel costs, and all the required. You will see in the applicant form where you need to clearly define, identify the different costs for the proposed activity. So the results of the vouchers up to date. So we have 21 project proposals and 7 funded. Probably these numbers have changed in the ISV and in the validation voucher, because these are the figures of July. So this needs to be updated. Now we have more awarded projects, but please focus on the demonstration voucher results. So we received in the first call 45 project proposals, and 8 were funded. But with these 8 projects, we already reached the limit for the first call, which was 1.5 million euros. So we have 8 teams, but within these 8 teams, we have 34 SMEs involved and granted. We have cross-regional projects that emerged out of the collaboration of the clusters involved in VIDA. And in terms of the type of projects, of the type of challenges that tackle the different proposals, we have within the food sector projects that tackle pretend demonstration proposals at greenhouses, at breweries, the irrigation and farming, wineries, and aquaculture. And the solutions proposed, we have the water nutrients recovery, water reuse, client and wireless data acquisition for a more efficient irrigation, and pools electrofield for agri-food processes and green agriculture. All of them have a specific KPIs related to water and energy savings. And well, very briefly, the most important thing to apply for a demonstration voucher is that you first read all the VIDA terms and conditions that have been slightly modified with regards of the first call. But the most important thing is that you register in Q5 and you fill in the new application form. This is a very important information. So there is a new application form, and those proposals that we receive with the former application form will not be eligible. Okay, so this is very important that you, for some of the participants that have already presented a proposal, you need to migrate. The information into the new application form and correspondingly change or complete those additional information required for the participants. So once you are registered in Q5 in the demonstration voucher group, you will be able to submit your proposal. For this time we have made some changes, so you will get the confirmation of the reception of the proposal. And for the evaluation process, you need to know that we have some independent evaluators. Each proposal is evaluated by 3 different evaluators that come from different countries from the origin of the proposal, and with all the combined, before we give the different proposals to the evaluators, we do a eligibility check, and we double check that the proposals are eligible, are within the budget, are within the SME conditions, and within the territorial scope of VIDA. And maximum after 8 weeks, we will get the results from the awarded proposal. And we committed with the project to give the approval or rejection with some type of feedback that we got from the evaluators. Okay, so just for you to know, if you need more information, these are the partners of VIDA. So they just contact your your closest VIDA partner, so they can support you in the process of submitting a proposal. And again, as Olga presented, we have a common email where you can raise your questions. More information on the project and the corresponding documents that we have mentioned in this webinar are in the website and in the Clue 5 group, that it's totally compulsory to be able to submit a proposal to consult this Clue 5 section. And now I give the word again to Olga so she can present the 3 success stories. Thank you.
Hello, do you hear me? I hope you can hear me well. So I'm just checking if Beatriz is here. I don't see her in the list.
Yeah, Olga, she's with me.
Okay, okay. Apologies. So, okay, so I will just then go to the first explanation. So, nanofiltration applied to rejected water recovery in brewery industry, or let's say NanoWin, is the first awarded project that will be presented by Beatriz from ADIEGO Hermanos as a coordinator. Besides ADIEGO Hermanos, the consortium of this project is composed of 4 partners, and they're coming from Spain and the Netherlands. ADIEGO Water Treatment is actually a water engineering company specialized in the study, development, and manufacturing equipment for water conditioning. ADIEGO is a water solution integrator and has designed the engineering process and will coordinate this project. I will then ask kindly Beatriz to present the project, and then after presenting her project, I will then move and introduce the next presenter, if that's okay with you. So please, Beatriz, you have the floor.
Hi. Thank you, Olga. Well, I'm the coordinator of NanoWin project, and such as Olga said, NanoWin project consists of 3 companies. ADIEGO, that is my company, is a Spanish company specialized in the study and installation for plug-and-play water solution. NX filtration, here. NX Filtration is a Dutch company which develops and manufactures hollow fiber membranes for use in microfiltration, ultrafiltration, and nanofiltration modules. Joten Water Treatment is a Dutch company too, which designs and builds water treatment equipment. The partnership composition was created with the support of ZINNAE and Water Alliance. Our consortium faced the VIDA challenge proposed by the brewery La Zaragozana, improvement of well water quality associated with sulfates, which was presented during the first brokerage event of the VIDA project in Smagua. The water consumption in a modern brewery is around 5 liters of water for every liter of beer produced. One of the key objectives towards sustainable beer production is to reduce water footprint, even more because the reduction of water will also be translated in an energy reduction. La Zaragozana takes water from a well with high level of sulfates. In order to get the quality needed, it used several reverse osmosis in the different processes, production, cleaning, etc. The reverse osmosis produces a stream of rejected water with high pressure and high salinity that is sent to drain. Our project aims to treat the flow of rejection using a newly developed hollow fiber nanofiltration membrane. Our demonstration prototype will be designed, built, installed and tested to treat a stream of rejected water in one of the reverse osmosis systems in the facilities of La Zaragozana. Along a period of 4 or 5 months, several tests will be done in different conditions in order to get results that allow us to estimate efficiency, fouling, maintenance costs, etc. The objective is reuse at least half the flow. Based on the water quality after nanofiltration, we can cover different use. Recycling to the raw water supply for cleaning processes or even for production process. Our project has a technological maturity index TRL7. For example, it has been successfully tested at Ronald's facilities, but with spiral-bound nanofiltration membranes. One of the innovations of our proposal is the type of module to be tested, without going into details any of its features. Minor pretreatment, high resistance, low energy consumption. Good. Well, this project is focused in food and dairy industry environment, especially brewery area. However, this technology can be applied in all sectors needing to apply reverse osmosis system in the production process. Automotive, metallurgy, biotechnology, I don't know. Okay, and more or less, I think that's all. No?
Yes, thank you, Beatriz. So, like one of the tangible outcomes of your project would be to think about prototyping solution that will be actually treating a stream or rejected water. Is this correct? Okay. Thank you so much. Before we go to the questions, so let's have all the presentations first made. So Hans comes from the Brightwork from the Netherlands. It will present us today the project, awarded project that is water reuse in the food sector, so demonstrating the cloth filtration as a viable and economic pretreatment process for RNO membrane filtration, and paving the way towards the multiple water reuse schemes. As I understood briefly, Brightwork is a Dutch consultancy that is focused on water treatment, water reuse, and sludge and energy management of wastewater or water treatment plants. And Brightwork acts within developing new innovative technologies for purification, monitoring and reuse of water and raw materials. I will give the floor to Hans to present further his project. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you very much for introducing. Yes, the project we are dealing with is all about water reuse in the food sector, and the project we are aiming for is to implement a new technology which well, paves the way towards multiple water reuse schemes, but also in a way that it is becoming an interesting and viable route for food industries to explore. We've been dealing with a lot of water reuse schemes in the past, and in most of those cases the matter of urgency is well, deciding what to do or what not to do, and ultimately it's always a cost factor. It's a cost factor to decide whether or not water reuse becomes an interesting topic to deal with within the food industry. And because of that, we are trying to introduce in this project a new technology, a technology based on cloth filtration, which is replacing one of the more expensive components in the food water reuse schemes. And that's what I would like to discuss a bit in more detail. And well, I'm happy to do that in the framework of VIDA, because that is giving us an opportunity to execute the trials we are aiming for and to really make the difference for the food sector. I have a short introduction. Part of that has already been passed. Then I'll focus on the water reuse and the cloth filtration technology, and in the last sheet, the project setup. If you look at the introduction, apart from the company I'm working with, Brightwork, we have two other parties involved, which are adding value towards the consortium. Brightwork is focusing quite a lot on strategic consultancy, but also on the technology development. So we are doing quite a lot of prototyping together with our clients, which are water utilities or wastewater treatment schemes at industrial applications, etc., etc. We always want to go for a prototype which is tested at the site of a client in order to create enough, how to say that, enough body to generate a solution which really makes sense. Apart from Brightwork, we have NADAC. NADAC is an SME which is working as a technical consultant in water and wastewater treatment. The company is contributing to setting up pilot demonstration units, also full-scale plants, automation, mechanical components, etc., etc. That's what we need to create a viable pilot and to test everything we would like to test. And last but not least, we are teaming up with Nordic Water Benelux. Nordic Water Benelux is part of the Nordic Water Group, which is a Swedish company. And the Nordic Water Group is introducing into the market segment a number of well-known products like Dynascent filters, and recently also started to get involved in the cloth filtration technology, which is part of the trial we are going to do within this VIDA framework. So these three partners are all Dutch partners working closely together to get the demonstration site in working order and to create all the parameters, create all the results which we need to make a good design for the water reuse. Water reuse is really a big issue in the food industry. The food industry is using quite a massive amount of water. Indicated that the Dutch food sector only is annually consuming in excess of 270 million cubic meters of water, of processed water, according to the statistics organization in the Netherlands. And that means is that water is becoming the #1 risk factor in growing the business in the food industry. The availability of good processed water is essential in order to grow the business, and what you see on the other side is that this availability becomes more and more of an issue. Drinking water is not available in enough quantities to grow the business, and that requires all kinds of extra investments, but also other sources like surface water or groundwater require quite a lot of attention in order to make good processed water out of that. That means that the costs of production and treatment of processed water is increasing. and the emphasis on sustainability and resource recovery is growing in this sector as well. So the risk mitigation factor, I think, is the most important driver for us to create a stable water reuse scheme where the wastewater is treated in such a way that it can be reliably reused in the factory in such a way that the overall processed water consumption is reduced and a sustainable growth is possible. That is, well, the basis of what we try to achieve. And of course, if you are achieving a water reuse scheme, you do not only have to build a reliable scheme which works 24/7, but it also should be a scheme which is viable from an economic point of view. And that's what we try to achieve with this particular project. Well, to go into a little bit more of detail of what we are going to do with the technology, I need to explain a bit what most of the bigger food industries already do. They are generating, of course, a lot of wastewater from their food processing. This wastewater is generally already treated to an extent that it can be discharged. And the treatment typically consists of some kind of anaerobic treatment, which generates biogas, which can be used in the factory. And then downstream of the anaerobic treatment, there's an aerobic treatment, an aerobic biological treatment, where the organic components are degraded. And then after that, some kind of settling stage is introduced to remove the suspended solids, the organic suspended solids, and to be able to discharge the effluent. In the water reuse schemes, typically the effluent from a biologically treated wastewater is picked up, polished to a certain extent using sand filtration or similar technologies, and then this water is rerouted through membrane processes like ultrafiltration and reverse osmosis, typically also with some kind of disinfection like ultrasound or UV disinfection before it is introduced into the factory as good quality processed water. What we are aiming for is to use the cloth filtration technology as a replacement for the tertiary treatment, the polishing treatment, and the ultrafiltration. Those components are in the essence the most expensive components in the treatment scheme, and that's the reason why we would like to get an alternative for that, a good, reliable alternative for feeding the reverse osmosis. And we think the cloth filtration is able to fill this gap and to introduce a reliable alternative for the expensive components. So it's a pre-treatment before the RO in order to create a reliable RO treatment and a water reuse system. There has been some experience with cloth filtration in surface water treatment and also in extensive phosphate removal. For instance, in the steel industry, there are some full-scale cloth filtration plants which are focusing on chemical coagulation, sometimes powdered activated carbon and polymer dosing in conjunction with aluminium or iron dosing, in order to remove the turbidity and the suspended solids. What we would like to do is introduce this technology into the food sector and create an economic way to reuse the water for the process. This is a picture showing, let's say, the technology itself. Basically, what you're looking at is a disc type filter, but on the framework of the disc there is a pile cloth media let's say, connected, which means that well, it's like a carpet which is used as a barrier for the suspended solids and the materials you would like to remove. It's mounted in partly or fully submerged drum filters, disc filters, and it accumulates all the pollutants. So the water flows from the outside in, and all the pollutants are then trapped into the, let's say, the cloth fiber media. Automatic backwash is introduced by rotating the drum, and each time the drum is coming above the water level, some kind of a vacuum cleaner is abstracting all the dirt which is trapped into the cloth in a very effective way. That means is that the amount of wash water which is generated is very low, and that the cloth can be continuously used for the purpose of retaining the suspended solids and all the pollutants you would like to trap. You can use the cloth filter in various dimensions. That means is that the pore size of the cloth can be changed, and one of the objectives of the trials we are going to do is to find out what is the most reliable cloth you should use to treat the settled effluent and to make a good quality filtrate for the reverse osmosis. That's something which we are going to test in combination with different filtration rates, etc., in order to find out the best possible configuration. Regarding the project setup, then, well, there's of course a full setup of all the tasks which we are going to execute in this project. But I think the most crucial high-level phases are phase 1 and phase 2. And in phase 1, we are going to do a functional testing at an existing demo site, which is pretty close to our offices in the capital of Friesland, Leeuwarden, at the wastewater treatment works of the city of Leeuwarden. And we said, okay, we would like to do the functional testing there in order to get familiar with all the operational parameters, to find out how we should run the plant in order to to make it work, and to create well, a little bit of familiarity with the technology in order to be able to use it then in phase 2, where we are going towards a food sector application. The capacity of the plant is, well, more or less around 5 cubic meters per hour, but that's something which we'll find out when we are going to treat the real water, and if we manage to upgrade that with the same amount of disk area, then of course that is an added value towards the design of the plant for any full-scale applications. As I said, in phase 2 we are moving the test facility towards the food sector. We are now trying to get that into the potato manufacturing sector also in Friesland, to do some performance testing. And in the performance testing, we would like to see what the impact of the test facility is on various effluent qualities. As you can imagine, in the potato processing, the quality of the potatoes is varying throughout the year, which means also that the wastewater characteristics will vary throughout the year. And that means is that we have to cope with that, and we need to create a stable setup of the test kit in order to be able to create a stable effluent quality from the cloth filter pilot to feed the RO. And that's the main goal for phase 2, in order to get the understanding of how we should run the unit in a stable way and create a good a good basis for the design, to build the design guidelines and to find out what the capital expenditures and the operational expenditures are, because those are the final drivers for the food sector to to decide to invest in a water reuse schemes or not. So that's important. In the last sheet, well, I would like to thank everybody for attending my presentation. I'm very happy to answer any questions also related to how this process within the VIDA setup is working. I must say the collaboration with the organizing committee is very good. So questions are answered quite rapidly, and also the way we are moving towards the grant agreement approval is very smoothly. So I'm very happy with that, and I think that is encouraging also for starting the trials. Actually, we'll have our kickoff of this project tomorrow. So then we will finally start with the project, and then we have 12 months to execute all the trials. So we'll kick it off and then start testing. And we're looking forward to do that with the team we have and with the support of VIDA. Thank you very much.
Hans, thank you so much, and congratulations and happy kickoff, and hope everything is going to go as you planned. So before we go to the questions for two presentations we already heard, we will briefly introduce Anders, coming from Nordicflexhouse. And I will briefly just say that it's a Danish private company that it's working in the field of between sustainability and energy efficiency of the cities. So it's building types of technologies that will kind of contribute to water waste treatment, air monitoring, purification, but also smart buildings and green buildings materials. And Anders will today present green buildings. And Anders, may I pass you the ball or the floor to introduce your project?
Yes, thank you. I hope you can hear me. My name is Anders Thomsen from Nordicflexhouse, and I have my office in Copenhagen. So what you can see here is actually the 8 figure in Copenhagen, made by a very famous Danish architect called Big. And in China that means lock. So Nordicflexhouse, just to give a very short introduction to my company. Nordicflexhouse, as mentioned, has its main office in Copenhagen, but we also have our LTD company, a Vove company, foreign-owned company in Shanghai, Nordicflexhouse Shanghai Building Technology Company. And we also have Nordicflexhouse Technology Innovation India Private Limited in New Delhi. So we are working on the Nordic market, and we are working in China and in India. Our main focus area are illustrated here. So we are working in green buildings, so everything made in factory, prefabricated. So we are focusing on energy plus houses, energy efficient houses, and in that manner we are also dealing with water and waste treatment and smart solution as part of the green building. And also we are working with this different kind of district heating cooling system. So it's like a platform solution. So we work from project to product to services. Our main focus areas are technology transfer services where we help Nordic companies, international companies coming to China and also India. We are also developing system solutions. I've been doing that for nearly 25 years. So thinking a more integrated solution that could fit into like a housing platform. So here comes the urban farming solution where we also can integrate vegetable in a greenhouse to the house itself, and thereby also give a very good healthy indoor climate. Also, we are involved as product management company for greenhouses on the Nordic market. So we are working with project in Stockholm with apartments and also other kind of projects like villa townhouse. So the project that we have got granted from VIDA called the Bowpot solution. So Bowpot actually consists of different kinds of technology into a system solution. So it consists of, as you can see here, sorry. As you can see here, it consists of different kinds of herbs and salads, and we are treating the water that can be surface water, that can be rainwater, to processed water. We are using fish as waste, the waste from fish as nutrients to the vegetable, and also we are working with heat pump or biogas for energy. So we are talking about waste to energy and waste to nutrients. So our solution is a combination of hydroponic and aquaponic solution where we're using the tropical fish as nutrients to the vegetable. And then we have a monitoring and control system to control the whole indoor climate of this complete system solution. So already we have this Bowpot solution in Jutland in a greenhouse for the first look testing, and then we also have it for the houses. But the goal here is actually to downsize it into a 40 feet container that can be part of vertical farming, that can be supply chain to green cities. So here you can see a project we have in China, in Hubei province, where we're going to actually develop an eco-village of 500,000 square meters, where our greenhouses can be part of this community. So also selling these kind of healthy, safe food to the bigger cities in the surrounding areas like Wuhan, with more than 11 million people. So our building block for our eco-village consisted of energy-efficient houses, organic food production with our Bowpot, using renewable power, the sun or geothermal for the energy part and electricity, and recycling water and waste. So 90% of the water is reused in our system. And then empowerment, so the people that are going to live there is part of the design and the ownership of this Bowpot eco-village concept and platform. So this is the idea to develop the first building brick of Bowpot and then integrate it as part of a green villa, townhouse, apartment, and then be supplied to the community and the surrounding areas. There are very big potential, not only in Europe, but especially in China and India, that really need healthy food and efficient way of producing and supply to the bigger cities. So the key value proposition of Bowpot is the possibility of organically grown, pest-free vegetable with no additional fertilizers than nutrients from the Bowpot solution. So we have a controllable nutrients flow and controllable climate and irrigation flow based on our monitoring and control system in the Bowpot. We can handle household waste and make it to nutrients and also put to the biogas if that is needed. So we are working on the circular economy framework. In this project, we will use heat pump in the 40 feet container for the energy part, and then we have the photovoltaic and electricity storage. The biopod target family, small and large communities, as mentioned before, the eco-village, and then also greenhouse farmers, vertical farming. So the purpose of our project is to develop, demonstrate, and disseminate an advanced biopod container solution. We call it Living Lab for the European markets. And in the project, we will also establish the company Dansk Lokal Energi, that is the service and installation company for this sourced renewable energy and food solution in the biopod container for villa and townhouses in Denmark and other Nordic and European countries. And then we will make a business plan for go-to-market strategy for the developed biopod solution. The partners, we are a few partners both from Denmark and from Holland. So the partners behind the biopod are Consortia from Denmark. They are specialized in control and monitoring. Wellfarm, they are the lead user. They already have a lot of greenhouses, and they want to use this biopod 40 feet for this vertical farming opportunity. Then we have DLS Enterprise, and they are the constructor of the 40 feet, and the ES Tanks is a Dutch company. The other I mentioned is Danish. ISS Tanks is a Dutch company. They are specializing in different kinds of tanks that we also will use for the 40 feet for the water supply. And then we have Aqua Color Sensors from Holland. They are water purifier. They have this sensor solution that can monitor but also purify the water. And then we have Enable PV, also a Dutch company, that are for the user interface, so we can gather data and display to different stakeholders. Nordicflexhouse is the project manager for this project. So very shortly, the flow is that you use the food waste, the surface water, the rainwater into the biopod, and then you get the vegetable and fish as an output. So we are working with hydroponics, so everything is water-based. There's no soil. So we spray the sum consisting of nutrients and the water directly to the roots, and this biopod will find the right biological balance, and through our monitoring and control system, we'll get the optimal combination of the water, nutrients, and energy flow, so we get the maximum output in the 40 feet container. So here you can see some illustrations from our greenhouse today. So here you can see the roots, and the key enabling technologies here are the aquaponic hydroponic solution and our IoT automatic monitoring and control of water, air, and biological processes with sensor-based technology. The end users in Europe are greenhouse farmers, individual households, eco-village, with shared biopod facilities in rural European areas. And also we are targeting the China and Indian market with this solution. So we are quite ambitious, and we already have developed the first loop. So we have already have our kickoff meeting, and we are very integrated and very committed to this project. And also I must say the VIDA consortium, the VIDA organizers are very professional, and it's a I'm very happy to be part of this organization, and I'm looking forward for the further collaboration. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much, Anders, for a brief presentation. Thank you all presenters, and it was a pleasure to see again more about your projects and an updated version of your state of art since the award ceremony that was in July in Copenhagen. Right now we pass for the last part of the webinar, which are the questions and answers from the audience, and with the next steps. So I would ask kindly the audience and also the presenters if there is a question to a specific presenter or about a specific project or for all the presenters. So I pass the ball to the audience and the presenters if you want to raise some questions. To do so, presenters can use the microphone, but the audience has to write their questions in the chat box. I will give a second if somebody wants to write.
Yeah, there is a question from Marisa, Olga.
Okay, okay. So, just a second. Can you, Clara, ask that question and I will ask the following questions.
Yes, Marisa has raised an interesting topic, so she wants to hear the opinions of the different companies that have been awarded with the VIDA voucher, why they think that their proposal has been approved. What has it been the main key factors or reasons for the success? If they can summarize that in a word, or maybe maybe 3 words, I don't know. I give the floor to Beatriz, that is by my side. It's the most easy speaker for me.
In 3 words. Well, I don't know. I think our project is a very easy and clear project. And I think it has been positive for us. Our consortium consists of partners from other clusters or different countries too. I don't know.
Hans?
Yeah, well, in 3 words is quite difficult, but I think what I found in the application forms is that there is a clear. You have to describe very clearly what the project is contributing to the objectives of the VIDA scheme, and you can get points for that. Of course, I do not know precisely how we scored at the various answers to the different questions, but I think if I might give some advice to anybody who's going for an application, it's crucial to have good answers to the questions which are raised in the application form, because that's where you are where you are scoring your points with. And I think looking at our project, it fits quite nicely in the objectives of the VIDA scheme. So in that respect, I think we scored good, and we were awarded this project. But that's crucial also for new applicants.
Hans, if I just may clarify for the ones that are listening and that will be listening to this webinar when we publish it on YouTube, do you consider that the application itself, the way it was formed with a question that facilitated the process of you building the narrative for your project, did it help you in this reflective exercise to actually form better your project proposal?
Definitely, yes. I think it was very clear what the objectives were, the VIDA objectives, and I must say I was encouraged by that, because I found quite a lot of let's say mutual ground for our project fitting into the VIDA scheme because of these questions. So that that encouraged us to go for it and to try to answer the questions to the best of our knowledge. And that, well, it really states a point what VIDA stands for, and I think that is crucial also for the applicants which are coming up.
Thank you so much for this insightful sharing. Anders, do you have any thoughts you would like to share as well on the question of key factor success story?
Yeah, so I think that I agree with the 2 previous presenters about what is important in terms of making this application. Also, I think it's important to think not only one country, but try to have partners across countries. And then also I think that it's nice if you can think about energy integration, like the energy, water, food integration, like this system thinking, and that you can show that actually on the TRL level that you actually can show that you can reach the market with this project. So it will not be a prototype for the prototype, but there is actually a market opportunity. Also, I think the risk element is important to identify the risk around this project and how you want to solve that. Yes, that was from my point.
Thank you, Anders. This also brings me to the next question that we have, which is exactly about cross-border and also cross-sectoral collaboration. So how did you tackle that in your partnership, in your project proposal or your awarded project that you're going to implement? So the question is, how do you actually tackle cross-sectoral and cross-border collaboration in your partnership? Who would like to start first?
Yeah.
Because I just I mentioned this cross-border that is important, and that I think to make a partnership, it's very important to think about how the companies complement or organizations complement each other. Mm-hmm. And by going cross-border, that just makes things better in my point of view, because because each country have their own culture, their own way of seeing things. By going cross-border, you get a more holistic view about your idea, but it's very important that it's like a partnership. So you also need to show how the synergy will happen and what is the business model that will share your idea together.
Yeah, if I may add something to that, I think our consortium consists of 3 Dutch parties, so it's not much cross-border. But there are 2 things I would like to add to that. One is that, as we did in the past, when we tried to create a new application or a new technology for a market sector, it's crucial to do that. No, well, not in your backyard, but in the vicinity, where you know what your what your criteria are, where you know your client, and how you can deal with your client in such a way that you can have the best outcome. It's very difficult to to successfully introduce a new technology into a certain market segment, and if you are making it even more complicated by having a pilot far away from home, so to say, then that is something which might create some issues in the long run. What we've been chosen is to deal with it locally, but having said that, in the consortium we have a very strong cross-border relationship with the Nordic Water Group, which is organized globally, but has a very strong office in Germany, a strong office in Sweden, is having a lot of partners all around Europe, and that is something which is quite of interest, because if we can manage to get this technology in the right ball game for the water reuse schemes in the food sector, then we have, well, a vast number of opportunities in Europe and also global to get that implemented. So that's the approach we've been taken from, let's say, the research part in the first instance towards the international marketing in the second stage.
In our case, we face the challenge presented during a brokerage event. We know the solution. We want to look for partners with the help of ZINNAE. I don't know if this is the rest.
Okay, so as I understood from 3 projects, there are 3 different approaches how we do actually cross-sectoral and cross-border collaboration, meaning that even if the company is based in the same local or same region, even it helps that it has actually established its business or offices in other countries of Europe or world. And also from the aspect of cross-sectoral, which VIDA actually promotes through VIDA Nexus, as we saw the scheme, it was essential actually also to think about how to complement to each other's expertise and be oriented towards, of course, food value chain, and then again how to understand each of the, not only the expertise, but also the roles within the projects that were approved. Thank you so much for all the contributions, for a brief discussion, and for the projects that had today presented, and we wish you all the success in the next steps. And we would like to remind you and everyone that is listening to this webinar that in less than 10 days we actually have a VIDA brokerage event in Milan, and we would like you to join us. In the chat box I put the link to the description of the event, and we'll look forward for your registrations. And if that's it, Clara, we can conclude this webinar. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much to all the speakers.